Alrighty, it's 3 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and start. So this is our Facebook sales class. Everyone's going to be muted until the Q&A at the end, just so that there's just no confusion over that. If you have questions, you can type them in the chat, but just know that most of the things that I will be going over are going to build on itself. So I will leave some time at the end for Q&A, because chances are something you ask is going to come down the pipe later. So I should have introduced myself. I'm Lauren. I work here at the Computer Help Desk, and you should have gotten a booklet emailed to you. I will be talking through that, covering that today, and I'll be going page by page. I will be referring to.
I forgot to email the booklet, so I'll get that after. Sorry.
Sorry. Okay, I'll be going through the booklet pretty concisely. So if you want to take notes, you can look at the booklet later, and then email me or call the Computer Help Desk for any questions. What else? I should note that this class covers selling your stuff in Facebook garage sale groups. It does not cover Marketplace, just because I developed the class before Marketplace was a thing. Marketplace selling is similar to what we're going to be talking about today, but we aren't going to specifically be covering Marketplace. And then lastly, for the class, we are assuming that you are familiar with the basics of Facebook. So if you are not, you can go ahead and call the Computer Help Desk for any basic Facebook class, any Facebook basic questions, or see if we have a class in the future. So with that, it will get started. By the end of the class today, you will be able to know how to join a community Facebook garage sale group. You'll understand what comprises a good garage sale group posting, and you'll learn how to post on a Facebook garage sale group. Now, a lot of the things I'm going to show you today, you won't necessarily be able to see in the groups, because it does take some time for your membership to be added to the groups. So just be aware of that. I will be sharing my screen to look at Facebook. So let me go ahead and do that, so I can kind of talk you through how to join a group. So alrighty. Can you see my Facebook screen? Thumbs up. Okay. Alrighty, so this is the main screen when you go into Facebook. To join a garage sale group, all you need to do is go to the top search bar on Facebook, just like if you were searching for a friend of yours, and you can type in group names. So if you live in Downers Grove, you can start by typing in Downers Grove, and it will populate some things for you. If you live in Westmont, you can do the same thing. And you can do Westmont garage sales, buy, sell in Downers Grove. So there's all sorts of things that you can, groups that you can join. So as you can see, the group here, let me find one that I'm not a part of so that I can show you what it looks like. As you can see, some of them, I'll just do this one even though I'm not going to do it. You, that one doesn't even have a thing. Here, let's try this. So you'll have to ask to join the group. So you can click in here and it tells you kind of about the group, some of the rules you can see here about the group, and then you can ask to join the group. Like I said, some of them will ask you some questions, and once you fill that out, once you follow the questions, they just want to know where you live, if you live in the 5-mile radius, that sort of thing. Once you fill that out, it might take 24 hours or so for you to be admitted into the group. Once you do join, though, one of the things you want to make sure to do is read through the rules, and we will talk about that. But like you saw in the beginning, it does talk about in that particular group that they're only admitting people within the 5-mile radius. It kind of give you a little bit of a heads up about the kind of things that they will and will not admit. So before we go ahead and post anything, while you're waiting, you are going to have some time, unless they admit you right away. Now, some of these groups have like 5 or 6 administrative people that are in it. Some of them have 1, so it may take some time, just so you're aware. And these are people that are doing this more as a hobby, so they might be like at work during the day, so they're not as quick about admitting everybody, just so you know. Now, in the booklet that you will view later, I'm going to talk about some great things that are to keep in mind to make sure you have a successful sales posting. So one of the best ways for an item to sell is to have great pictures. Now, what I mean by that is it doesn't have to be professional pictures. It doesn't have to be perfect lighting, that sort of thing, perfect like professional lighting or that sort of thing. I have no fancy equipment. I use an iPhone. I just make sure the wall is pretty plain and clean, and there's no other items in the picture. So again, the lighting, it doesn't have to be professional. But you do need to make sure that the lighting is clear so it's not too dark. A lot of times natural light is really good. So if you have a house that has some natural light, I do suggest taking the picture in that room. I have taken pictures outside if it's like an outdoor item or it's nice weather, just because natural lighting is the best that I have found. And then you do want to show the item, you want to display the item in a way that kind of leaves none to the imagination. So, for example, if it's a piece of clothing, you can take a picture on a hanger. You can use a clothes form like they do in the department stores. It just gives a full visual of the item and helps to sell it better. The other thing is, and I will show you like within the group some of the abbreviations of descriptions, but another really good tip is having a great description. So if you go ahead and do a lot of this work with descriptions and pictures and things up front, you won't have to do as much answering of questions and updating of postings later on. So great descriptions include being very specific about the item. So the posting in Facebook garage sale groups, they will require you to have the price, the location, and things like that. But you do want to include the size. So if it's a clothing item, you want to include the size of the clothing, or if it's like a piece of furniture, you want the dimensions of the furniture. You also want to include the condition. So this is the condition that the item is in. Either it's new with tags, new with no tags, used like new condition, good condition. And like I said, a lot of the groups have what they use as abbreviations or what they use for conditions. condition tags as well. So it's good to read through the rules on that as well. And then you do want to include if the item is, if your home is a smoke-free or pet-free environment. Some people can't, have the item if it's something that's gonna, hold like dog fur or something like that. So that's also good as well. And then lastly, I also always put if the item is posted on another site. So if it's posted in a garage sale group for Downers Grove and it's posted for a garage sale group for Westmont, you want to put cross posting, because even though it's posted on Facebook as a whole, it's posted in two different groups. And that way, when people start to say they're interested and want to get in line to pick up the item, they know that if you say, it's unavailable and they're the first one in line, that obviously there's another group involved, that sort of thing. So just making sure to put cross posted, or some people put X posted with the X. And that will a lot of times also be in the rules for each group as well. So it's very important once you're, if you're going to use multiple groups, once you're admitted into those groups, to read the rules of the group, because they do take those seriously and they will kick you out of the group if you don't follow those. The other thing that's important before you post is knowing your item's worth. So if you are posting something that's completely new and you have the tags and all that good stuff and you just bought it, you can obviously post it for the price that's on the price tag. Otherwise, if it's an item that's used, you want to go ahead and do some research and see how much the item is in comparison to other people posting. So I do a lot of Googling. I just kind of Google as much of the description of the item that I have and what the condition I consider my item in to be in. And a lot of times I find eBay ads or other Facebook ads or other sales postings from other apps. And I can kind of compare and contrast my item to theirs and what they priced it for. Obviously, if you find it somewhere for new and yours is like a little less new and things like that, you can kind of use that as a gauge too. And then you also want to know if it's gained some value. So if it's a collectible item, you want to make sure that you go through that process too to see, if it's gained some value since you purchased it as well. The most important thing with pricing is obviously to do your research, but to also feel like you are comfortable with the price that you set, because the worst thing to do is once you have a buyer who's interested, not be comfortable with what you're selling it for. So that's a good reason to do your research and be comfortable with what you're posting it for. So we've come to the point now where we're going to talk about how to post. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. Okay, so here we are again at the Facebook, the homepage of Facebook. So let's assume that by this point you have been added to one of the Facebook groups that you've asked to join. Once you go to that group, so when you're on the main Facebook page, you can go to the side panel here, and it's usually under shortcuts is where your groups are. So we'll go to the Naperville Garage Sale group. And here at the top of the page, they have some tabs. About here is about the group, some things about, like, it's public, anyone can find you in this group. It's located in Naperville, some other members that you might know. Then these are the two admins. Some group rules from the admins as well are here as well. And then buy and sell is where we're going to post things. We'll talk about that later. Discussion is a little bit different than buy and sell. It's more of a, hey, let's let me get a recommendation on, you know, a good dry cleaner. It's things like that, that sort of things. Or you can in discussions put information on a physical garage sale. So um the virtual items that we're putting up for sale is a virtual garage sale. But if you are having like a physical garage sale in your garage, in your driveway, you can put the details here and create a post kind of saying, hey, this is when it's going to be, this is where it's going to be, and that's how that works there. You can see other people have like added things on the discussion page there. The announcements, that's usually where they put updates from the admin. So it looks like he has, Sean, the admin here, has added some quick updates for everybody, for newer members. This is a lot of times where they have a lot of group guidelines to read. So you want to go ahead and read through this part of the group as well. And then down here is your items. So if you do have things for sale, this is where you would find them. You hit, you know, your items, and it would be a list of everything you have to sell. So now we can go back. So buy and sell, this is where you want to put your actual postings for individual items. So usually this is where your picture is going to be. And so you'll see that this is like where you would click to hit sell something. So once you click on that, it opens another little box, and it's going to ask you, is it an item, is it a vehicle, or is it a home for sale or rent? Usually in these groups, it's just an item for sale. There are specific groups for vehicles to sell, and then there are some groups for home sales as well, but this is usually just for single item sales. So you click on that. Once we go there, you can add pictures of the items. So before you go ahead and sell, you're going to want to upload all your pictures to your computer and make sure they're all set and edited if you need to edit those, crop them, or anything like that. You can add up to 42 pictures per posting. I don't think you need 42. I think 2 or 3 does the trick. And yeah, so 42 would be a little bit too much. You want to create an eye-catching title, so something that's pretty descriptive of the item. If it's new, you might want to include, you know, that it's new shoes, new whatever. That usually also helps. And then here you'll set the price. And now this is a new feature. This wasn't always like this. The drop down for condition. Before it was condition was in the description, but now it looks like with this group, I'm not sure all the groups, but this group specifically is asking you to set the condition. So you would just click on what you think it is, and then in the description you can put things like the size, if it's dimensions or clothes or something like that. You can say it's X posted, smoke-free, pet-free environment. And then this is new as well, product tags. So if it's like a name brand or something that is kind of you like something that you would think they would search for, you can put that in here. So you can say shoes, you could do new shoes. So you just do a hashtag and then you put the words and then click enter, and then it adds those as well. The location will be defaulted as to where you're coming from. You can change that once you click in the box. And then when you hit next, it will go ahead and post the item. Let's see, where are we here? So once you're posted, you there's two ways that there's two things that you should check. So first of all, in the rules for most of the groups, they say that if someone is interested, they need to say interested on the posting. So let's say that I was interested in this wood dresser. So if I was interested, I need to say interested, and that will put me into the line. A lot of these people on here say so beautiful. This Mary person is not in line. So if they have a question, what they need to do, most of the groups specify, you need to say interested, and then you can add the question, what are the measurements? But you need to state that you're interested as well. So again, let's make sure that when we join the group, we go ahead and read how they consider you to be in line for the item, because a lot of these items, there's a line and you need to be putting your interest on the actual posting. The other problem though is that sometimes people don't follow that, and you might have somebody who messages you directly. Now there's a few issues with that. Because you are in the group doesn't necessarily mean that you're friends with the people in the group. So on Facebook, when somebody messages you and they are not your friend, you do not get a notification at the top here. Like if your friend messaged you on Facebook, if you're a Facebook friend with someone on Facebook and they messaged you, it would have like a 1 on top of the message icon here. If you're not friends with somebody and you're just in a group with them, you do not get that. You go to, let's see, you have to go to see all messenger. Whoops. See all messenger, and then let's see, where is it? There used to be a folder, message requests. So if they're not a friend of yours, they're going to go in message requests. So they get put in message requests, and then you don't have an icon, a notification that says you have a message. So from time to time, you're going to want to go to message requests and check that. And like I said, you have to go to messages, and then you have to go to see all in Messenger and pull down message requests. Like I said, they are supposed to comment on the actual posting. Sometimes people don't do that. You can message them back and say, please go and put your interest in the posting, because that's how I keep track of who's in line. But like I said, you might want to check that from time to time. Once somebody does say they're interested, we can talk about a little bit later on about how to set that up with them. Just before I talk about that, I always like to say some just tips for dealing with the next part of the process. So some people do not read the ads. Some ask questions that you have spelled out for them. It gets very frustrating. They don't follow the rules of the group. But in order to make kind of a successful sale, you might have to deal with that. You might have to just kind of redirect them to where, to find the information, or to show your interest on the actual posting, that sort of thing. Some users do want to negotiate. Unless you put in your posting OBO or best offer, they should not be negotiating. Just remind them that you didn't include that in your ad, but if you want to be safe in your actual posting description, you can put in there in the description, let me just pull it back open. You can put in here prices firm so that they're aware, I'm not interested in negotiating this prices, I want this price. That's pretty much firm. So that's also good to do as well. Once somebody comments and they say that they're interested in the item, you will get a notification at the top of the page here, just like you would with like a friend on Facebook commenting on a picture or something like that. The notification will go here and you will see that you got someone commented on your posting. You click on it, it will take you to the posting. What I like to do is on their comment, I will comment back and say, I'm going to send you a private message. Because, like I said, we're not friends on Facebook. They're going to need to check that special folder for message requests. And I want to make sure that they don't miss it. So nobody's ever really, like when I email or message the person or comment on there, nobody's ever like shown up that wasn't supposed to. But just to be safe, I kind of take it off the public domain, send them a message to set up a location and pick up time and things like that. If possible, I recommend to always meet in a public place, like a coffee shop or a grocery store. If it's going to be me, I meet them during the day, just to make sure that, there's a bunch of people around, that sort of thing. I've never really had a problem with anybody, but it's just better safe. It's better to be safe than sorry. So if it's a big item and you can't, like it's a big furniture item and you can't take it to a Starbucks or whatever, I do just make sure that somebody is there with me, just to make sure that they, I'm not there home alone, just to be, like I said, better safe than sorry. I also only accept cash is the only form of payment. I used to say that they could do like a cashier check or a money order, but somebody in one of my classes before said those can be faked or counterfeit too. So cash is king. So the other thing that I do that's a little bit different is, say that somebody says today's Tuesday, they say, I want to come and pick up the item on Thursday. I don't hold items, but if no one else is coming to pick it up, I will say, okay, well, we'll set it up for Thursday. So, you've messaged with them on Tuesday and Thursday morning comes around, just to make sure that I don't waste any of my time. The day I'm scheduled to meet up with them that morning, Thursday morning, I will send them a reminder and just say, hey, I just want to confirm that you're still gonna, that we're still meeting at such and such a place at this time, in case, just to make sure that they're gonna come. And I don't go to the meeting location until they confirm. So I've been doing that for 8 years. I've never had somebody that hasn't responded, like respond later and say, oh, I was at Starbucks and you never showed up. So everyone that's interested and has the intention of buying the item and coming and meeting me has always confirmed, and I always give them plenty of time. Like if it's at noon, I do it at 9 in the morning. So they have plenty of time to see and to get back to me if they, if they're going to, not come or set another time. Sometimes they need to set another time. But in the 8 years that I've been doing that, they have never said, oh, I was there and you didn't come. So obviously they were not going to come if they didn't confirm. So that saved me a lot of time too. Lastly, once you do have postings up and you decide to go in and say that you want to edit it or you want to delete the postings. Now, if you've sold something, I like to keep it on there because a lot of times Facebook does have a rating system, and so people can rate you on there if they've worked with you. And also, let's say that you do really successful on here, then you have like a record of what you have sold in case you need to pay taxes that year. I'm not at that point, but let's let's say that you're going to be that successful. So it's a good reason to keep the postings rather than deleting them, and it will just show what you've sold. It won't, you know, keep the posting live. No one else will, you know, be able to comment or bid or whatever on there. But if you did want to lower the price, you can go in and edit postings, and you would just do that from the same place. So from the group, I showed you there was your items. Um, in the your items area, there would be, if I had items sold, I did have items last time I taught this, but they must have expired. But you would have all your listings here, and you could go ahead and edit those. It's just a click, it's just a button that says edit. You go in there and you can change anything in the posting. So if you wanted to change the pricing, you could do that. If you want to just get rid of the posting, you just want to give it to Goodwill, you're not going to sell it anymore, you can do that. And you can also mark items as sold from this page, delete from this page. So this is where you really manage your items. And with that, I've kind of gone through everything in our study guide. And we can open it up for questions now. So we have a question from George about fees. So Facebook does not charge a fee now. Originally, when I started this, it was just Facebook garage sale groups that were created from community members, anybody in the community that wanted to just sell or upcycle, all that kind of thing. And it was, you know, just very basic grassroots kind of thing. Now Facebook has started Marketplace. That's kind of them getting in on the process. None of those things have fees. Marketplace doesn't have a fee. The garage sale groups don't have a fee, but I do foresee that changing in, I don't know, maybe the next year or so, just because they're getting more and more involved with the marketplace part of it. But no, the basic stuff does not have fees as of now. Any other questions? How do you handle taxes? I have never had to do it. It's usually I think $1,000 or more in sales per year. So I have never really had to deal with that. But I think from my understanding that it would just be a 1099 issue, but I would check with an accountant or yeah, somebody in the tax field if you do get to that point. But I have never really had to deal with that. Yeah, the thing that is nice about Facebook sales is you don't have to pack and ship. Some of the other sites, obviously, you have to deal with that. You have to print labels. I do like that it's mostly local people. If you're dealing with the Facebook garage sale group, sometimes if you do the marketplace, it might be somebody from, you know, 30 minutes away, but not too far away, and you don't have to deal with all that. We have another question. Is one place more successful? I feel like obviously, if you're going to, you know, the faster it sells is probably if you have it on multiple garage sale groups, including Marketplace. Um, Facebook Facebook sales, garage sale groups have been like where I've had the most success. I do use Poshmark once in a while, but again, you do have to pack and ship and things like that. I'm part of 2 garage sale groups on Facebook, and then I do occasionally put the items on Marketplace too, and that's usually the most successful combination. Yes, so the workbook does have some abbreviations included into it. And like I said, some of the groups use their own lingo and abbreviations, so I would check with each group that you're going to use to make sure that you're kind of using what they're commonly used. I have used, so we have a question about PayPal and other kind of cashless, contactless transactions. I have used once or twice. Usually I just prefer them to have cash, because not everybody has those avenues. But I have used it before, so that has proved to be safe. It's really up to the situation and, you know, that kind of thing. So with Facebook Marketplace, you can offer some shipping. I don't do that. I usually only deal with local buyers, just because like I said, it's a kind of a hassle. I use Poshmark. That's enough of a hassle for me to ship out items. I know other people on the app do use that. It's just an added thing, another step to use. I get enough traction with, like I said, the 2 Facebook groups and Marketplace that I don't really feel like I need to branch out to ship out of the area. So that's kind of my story. But it looks fairly easy to set up. It's just one of those things, like I use this as more of a local one that I don't have to deal with the shipping.
Okay.
Any other questions? We can unmute too if we want to ask them. There we go. If we want to ask them that way as well. All right, well, if there is no more questions, if you do, go ahead and raise your hand, or either that or type them into the chat. And if you do think of something later, if you're reading through the workbook and you have questions later, feel free to call the computer help desk and get in touch with me as well. I'm the only Lauren here, so it shouldn't be too hard to find me. But yeah, so like I said, if you go through the workbook and you have additional questions, or you're in the process and you get stumped on something, I'd be happy to walk you through that as well. All righty.